Hi everybody, this is a review for the PY15 Wicked Plunge Overbust corset made by Puimond. So here's the front, side, back, and the other side. The center front of this corset is about 13 inches, and from the peak of the bust down to the bottom of the corset is actually 17 inches. So it's quite a bit longer than the plunge corset that I had reviewed from Puimond before. From the waist up to the tip of this peak here is about 12 inches. And the height of the center back is about 13.5 inches, so it comes up fairly high here. In terms of the actual silhouette, I would say that this is going towards a wasp waist, and this is actually the shape that is most comfortable for me, having more of a conical rib cage and then rounded over the hips here. You can also see that it is a little bit of a long line corset, but not so long line that you can't sit down. I find that it creates a really smooth transition from the end of the corset to the start of your leg without causing any sort of little bump. So here's a corset laying flat, and I have to say, in terms of the material, this might just be the sturdiest corset I have, because it's made from 3 different layers of fabric at least. The fashion fabric is a spot brooch, which is actually strong enough to make single layer corsets by itself, and then that's bagged onto some cotton to help sew the boning channels in, and then there's a floating layer of herringbone coutil on the inside. So I don't think this corset could stretch if I wanted it to. I'm turning the corset on its side here. This is made from a 6-panel pattern, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see it doesn't even want to lay flat because of the hip wants to jut out there. That's what makes it so comfortable. And the panels are top stitched together, so that's quite sturdy. It's double stitched, and the bones are actually both on the seams and in the center of the panels, which I really like. I actually prefer this way of boning corsets as opposed to just having 2 bones on each seam. Kind of holding the corset on an angle here, you can see that there is a waist tape running through the entire width of the corset, starting from one back edge all around the front and going to the other back edge. It's about 1 inch wide. The binding is actually gorgeous. It's made from this black vinyl, which really complements the motif on the center front here really nicely because it's all shiny and everything. It's a quite thin binding, only about 1/4 inch wide instead of the typical 1/2 inch wide, and it's neatly stitched on both the outside and the inside. On the inside, it's finished typical of other leather or vinyl bindings in that it is just stitched down, and then the edge is clipped very close to the edge there. That's to reduce bulk. Because this corset was a sample, it does not come with a Modesty panel, although if you were to order a corset new and you were to request that a Modesty panel be included, I'm sure Puimond would be able to accommodate that for you. And obviously there is no Modesty placket because there's no busk in the front. And here's a close-up of the embellishment, the motif in the front. And usually I'm more of a crystal person than a sequin person, but in this case I'll make an exception because this is absolutely gorgeous. It has these little like flowers made with like beads in the center of the flowers, and you can see that it kind of goes up sort of in this sort of, I don't know, fiery or wing type pattern there, and it extends down. Look how sparkly that is. I don't know if Puimond had actually made this himself or if it was pre-purchased, but who cares? It's gorgeous. This corset has 24 bones total, so that's quite a bit more than my PY06 Puimond corset. In the center front here, running underneath that motif, is 2 flat steel bones. I believe they are about 3/8 of an inch wide. They're a little bit wider and a little bit sturdier than a normal 1/4 inch wide flat steel bone. And I can see in the back here that there are 2 3/8 inch wide flat steel bones sandwiching the grommets, keeping that really nice and sturdy. All the rest of the bones in this corset are 1/4 inch wide spiral steel bones, which help it to go around the curves, especially that wasp waist, really nicely. And like I said before, there's 1 bone on the seam and 1 in the center of the panel, which really nicely distributes tension and prevents any sort of pressure points from forming. And here's a close-up of the grommets. There are 26 2-part size 00 grommets finished in black, so that's really nice because it goes with the rest of the corset really nicely. No splits, no coming away from the fabric. I would show you the underside, but it's a little bit difficult because I have to put you inside of the corset.
And the laces themselves, they're really nice. They're longer than usual since you have to just unlace this completely and slip it over your head since it doesn't have a busk. I believe they're made from nylon, a 1/4 inch wide, very little spring to them, practically impossible to break, so I'm really happy with these.
The price for this corset new costs $490 if you want it in fabric and $650 if you want it in vinyl or leather, with a little bit of a price markup if you want the premium leathers or the more special silks. And the little motif, the applique here, costs extra as well. So I hope you enjoyed the review of this Couture Wicked Plunge Overbust Corset PY15 made by Puimond. If you do like this video, then please click the like button to help support the channel. If you have any comments or questions about this corset in particular, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to answer any and all questions. And I will see you in a few days for the next video. Bye.